Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
The question is simple. Is Suella Braverman's language of invasion fueling a sort of right-wing ideology in relation to immigration in our country? You can call me. Let's debate this issue, and I don't mind what your views are. Let's have a discussion. You can call on 0345 6060 973. Kevin in Upminster. Kevin.
Yeah, I'm a first-time caller. But what you're saying is winding me right up. The woman is so right, and everything that she said in that speech was so right. Enoch Powell was right back then when everyone dismissed him. Yeah, I'm not being funny. The journalists...
I don't find it funny, Kevin. Why were they right? Why do you think that language is right? Why?
Listen, I owned a coach company. I had 35 coaches, one of the biggest in London. The things the government used to get us to do: run 6 coaches down to Dover, pick up all the immigrants, take them somewhere in the country. Where do you want them to go? Anywhere. Just drop them somewhere. You go to Manchester, police place. No, you're not going here. Go
Kevin,
somewhere else. You go somewhere else.
Look, the language that Enoch Powell used, he talked about black people having the whip hand over white people.
It was totally I'm 65, so I was a little kid when he made that speech, and everyone sort of condemned him.
I'm 50, and I remember growing up with the National Front as a consequence of that speech. Kevin, it was a frightening time.
I'm running Ukrainians. I'm running all different people all over the country. It's all men. It's all men, no families.
Yes, most refugees are men because they're the ones who feel fit to leave.
I'm running these people in coaches to different hotels all over the country.
But Kevin,
they don't even like go there. Really.
Kevin, is it an invasion?
It is an invasion. It is a sort of invasion. Like I heard you
It's been a sort of invasion.
Stupidly to the bloke
but Kevin, look, we've got Kevin, can I just pause? Kevin, can we have a pause? Kevin, we've got refugees, many hundreds of thousands more in Poland as a result of the Ukrainian crisis. We've got 4 times the number in France. We've got many more in Germany, Turkey, Greece. All of Europe, of course, is seeing a flood of refugees being driven by conflict, being driven by climate, and being driven by oppressive regimes, particularly in the Horn of Africa. So we do know that context. The question is, there's a convention on refugees in 1951. It was set up after the Second World War because the world slammed the door in the face of Jewish people. And now we have politicians. It started with Enoch Powell. It's continuing that rhetoric. It didn't used to be on the front bench, but now it's on the front bench. It used to be at the fringe. And you think it's okay, Kevin?
No, you tell me, right, look at the age group of all the men that we're transporting in our coaches all over the country. You look at the age group.
Well, they're young men because young men are always the ones that come first.
You haven't got young people. You've got men from 18 to 30. And they're coming in this country because it's an easy time. And people like you are the ones. Like I never liked Priti Patel. But I've got so much admiration for that woman.
Suella Braverman.
No, I'm talking about Priti Patel, the way she was sending them out back to, Ghana. She's using her imagination. She's and this woman...
Do you think the Rwanda scheme, Kevin, is worth the money? Do you think the Rwanda scheme, this plan to send them to Rwanda, is worth the money, the 140 million they're going to spend on it?
You're a politician. You know how to waste money more than anyone else in this country. Do you know your government even sent one of my coaches to go and pick up a Syrian family.
Kevin, there wasn't conflict in Syria when we were in government. What are you talking about, Kevin?
No, I'm not talking. I'm talking about immigrants. There was immigrants over here.
But Kevin, Kevin, when you choose this phrase, immigrants, there are 4.9 million people born in Britain who live in other countries. Would you describe the Brits on the Costa del Sol as immigrants?
You're saying no, because they're getting out of this country. The same as what Enoch Powell said, like all those years ago. I've never heard that speech before until you played it earlier on. I never heard that before.
But what I'm saying is that
the English people, where my grandfather fought in the war in the Royal Navy in the Atlantic, right, for nothing. This country is gone. It's gone.
Kevin,
it's too late. And when you've got people like you and your mates running it,
I'm not running it. I'm not running. The Labour Party's not been in power since 2010.
But politicians in general, look at Blair. Blair ruined the education system, making all these places universities.
Kevin, you're darting around now, Kevin. We were talking about people claiming asylum and refugees. We were saying that there's huge backlogs now under this government. They're not processing the claims, which is half the problem. Making sure that those who are entitled to stay here can stay, and those who can't, I'm afraid they have to be sent. But they're not processing the claims. That's the problem. Then they have this scheme, this Rwanda scheme, which is costing a fortune, but has actually done nothing, achieved absolutely nada. Then they're not working with the French. They're not working with Europol. They're not organising themselves properly to deal with the people who are doing the trafficking and the smuggling. Kevin, surely those are the issues, Kevin.
The French have never worked with the British. They've never worked with the British, the French. I've been backwards and forwards. I've been back to the last 50 years. I've had a coach company, 35 coaches going backwards and forwards to France. France, they've always been like an enemy, basically, of the British. When you go to Germany and Holland and Belgium, different ball game. But when you say to that guy that was on before me, oh, the French have took twice as many. They're 4 or 5 times bigger country than us. Don't you understand?
It's not. We're not just talking.
Germany,
Kevin,
Germany
we're not. We're talking about. But look, it would help if we actually had an agreement with the European countries. We haven't got an agreement at the moment because this government's Northern Ireland Protocol. It means they can't actually sit round the table with our European colleagues. And of course, it's not just the French. I name-checked a range of countries: Italy, Spain, Poland, Germany, Greece, Turkey, all with huge numbers, much bigger than you're finding here in the UK, is the truth.
Country, they've got the space. Another one of these issues, we build houses. You cannot build. There's no land about anymore. There's no land to build because we haven't got the space. We haven't got the area. Look at the size of Turkey. Open your eyes, you lot. Both sides.
Kevin,
you've got to open your eyes.
Kevin, so what are you saying? That we should just sort of slam the door then now for those claiming asylum or refugee? Were you not moved when you saw some of those scenes following the initial scenes of war in Ukraine?
No, I was not.
You weren't?
Not at all, because Ukraine, we done a deal with Ukraine, with Gorbachev in the 90s, right, that would never be a NATO country. You have, like, the governments now of all the Western countries.
These are people fleeing bombs, Kevin.
Back on their word.
These are women and children fleeing bombs, fleeing for their lives. Those were the scenes that we saw, Kevin.
Right, have you seen the army?
Well, Kevin,
you're telling me that that is the best army Russia's got.
Kevin, I think that sort of sums up your view, doesn't it? Really, and I've got a feeling that most listeners will not share that view. But Kevin, thank you very much for calling in. I've got to respect that view, and I've got to respect there are people out there that have that view, but it's not one that I share, because I think it ends in a horrifying place if countries slam the door in the face of people fleeing persecution, and claiming refugee status. And the reason for that is we need to learn something. Our soldiers died for a reason in the Second World War fighting fascism. And I'm afraid for many, many Jewish families that had doors slammed in their faces, there's a sense in which, Kevin, when you hear someone like you, we've absolutely forgotten that truth. And, and we're approaching Remembrance Sunday, Kevin. What about that?
Sorry?
We're approaching Remembrance Sunday, and we're sort of forgetting the truth of what was happening in the Second World War.
Listen, it wasn't just the Jewish. My granddad was in the Second World War. Don't tell me about the Second World War. My granddad died in it.
Well, that's the point. What did he die for, Kevin? What did he die for?
Should open your eyes.
What did he die for, Kevin? He died fighting fascism. That's the point. He died fighting the very thing that some of these people are fleeing.
They only want to come to this country for money. That is all.
Kevin, thank you very much for calling in. You're listening to David Lammy on LBC, and the time is now 4:46.
LBC. What should I do?